Essentially, for those of you following along at home, back in the day, we used to buy advertising by calling individual websites, individual programs. You would literally call or email the New York Times or CBS News and book and negotiate and work through contracts and give invoice details and pick out the exact specific inventory, the time of day, the web page you wanted to be on. And it was a very manual process for each individual website or partner that you wanted to partner with. But these days, what Programmatic does is essentially like calling an Uber. Rather than having to call a taxi, remember a phone number, or like walk up to a bartender and say, hey, you got a phone number for a taxi I can call? And figure out the actual taxi that you're going to call, give them your credit card, give them an address, all of that. That's old school. Programmatic, the trade desk, we're talking Uber now. We're literally hopping onto one platform. Our credit card's already saved. It knows the address. We're able to plug it in. And an auction happens essentially in that moment, trying to bid for our business. Same thing with Programmatic. We're hopping in this platform. We're giving it parameters. We're telling it the audience we want to reach, all within one platform, making things pretty seamless for us to be able to buy things. So the trade desk is Uber instead of the old school way of buying media with calling individual taxis.
Mm-hmm. And I bring that up because as we talk about bringing in compliance early and often and having those conversations, I think it's important that we as marketers spend all day, every day talking this stuff, and they don't. And sometimes using those types of analogy, that's a freebie for all of y'all out there. If you want to use that analogy with your compliance friends, of just telling them this is what programmatic is, right? This is about efficiency, and this is about reaching our audience in the spaces and places where they are. So thank you, Laurin, for entertaining me a little bit on your analogy. But
of course, you're so right though, right? It sometimes half the battle is just making sure that we're explaining to our compliance and legal teams and even our executives, our internal stakeholders, other than the marketing teams, making sure they understand what it is we're buying without all the jargon, rather than saying, oh, I bought CTV. That sometimes means nothing to people, but instead explaining, Michael, you called it out. I bought inventory. I'm targeting my audience, this list of people. If they are watching March Madness this upcoming weekend, we're going to be there. We're going to bid on that impression there.
Yeah. And I think and to that point, and I know this is something we all always intend to do, but may not always be possible. But with the compliance teams, it's like, ask the questions. You should have partners, whether that be other folks, other agencies, other DSPs, or companies like the Trade Desk. They should be able to give you, they can't give particular legal advice, but they should be able to help you answer the questions so that you can bring it to your legal teams, ideally before there's that fire drill. Because to your point, they are not in the weeds and know every single acronym like us as marketers. So for them to first learn who these companies are that we're working with, then as things progress with partnerships, it should be easier for them to make decisions that are best for their business.